Adaptations in organisms. Today, we will learn the principles of adaptation in living organisms in relation to various external factors of the environment. Organisms show different adaptive features to sustain their life under the varied conditions of external factors of the environment like water, temperature, soil, light, air as well as fire. In this part of lecture, we will mainly focus on adaptations of the plants and animals in relation to external factors, especially water and temperature. Let's get the general information about the adaptation first. Adaptation to environment is one of the basic characteristics of the living organisms. All living organisms possess the inherent properties to respond to a particular environment. Adaptation to environmental dynamics is a biological process eternally operating in nature. It is a facet of evolution and involves structural diversities among living organisms that are heritable. Organisms exhibit numerous structural and functional adaptations that help them to survive as species and to overcome the tremendous competition in nature. Now, let us understand the definite and precise meaning of adaptation. Adaptation is defined as the permanent molding in organisms to such an extent that they can live in a particular environment suitably. It is a characteristic of living forms which develop over a length of time when certain morphological and physiological modifications are initiated that enable them to survive within the jurisdiction of a particular environmental condition. Let us get an idea about the relationship between adaptations in environment. The adaptations exhibited by the organism depend upon their surroundings. The environment of an organism is not only the physical environment, but also includes the biogeochemical and biotic environments. Of all this, the water and temperature are the two main external environmental factors. Water and temperature seem to be very important physical factors, especially from the ecological point of view. Some animals are adapted entirely within watery medium and others are adapted to land. Temperature also induces modifications in the living organisms. There are two primary requirements, food and safety, for which animals compete with each other. In the course of time, the animals become adapted to all possible conditions of life on earth, especially water, air and temperature. These adaptations are manifested in various structural modifications which enable their possessors to survive the competition. Adaptations can be classified under four headings: structural adaptations, physiological adaptations, protective adaptations and animal associate adaptations. During this lecture, we will discuss only structural adaptations. Structurally, adaptations may be morphological, that is confined to the shape, size and external features, or anatomical, in which visceral organs are adapted according to the need. It is really surprising fact that in all the adapted animals, the structure of the body which are in direct influence of the environment become extremely modified, while the internal structures which are more conservative become less modified. Now, let us get the knowledge of different principles of organisms' adaptation for various external environmental factors. Lull in 1952 classified structural adaptations based on the external environmental factors of water and temperature into three main types. Aquatic adaptations. These adaptations made the animals suitable for living in watery medium. Desert adaptations. Organisms live in desert show special adaptations against extreme temperature, lack of moisture, lack of vegetation characterizing the desert. Thermal adaptations. These organisms show adaptations for living in extreme temperature. Let's first start with the adaptive features of living organisms for water. The scarcity or abundance of water brings about adaptations in living organisms. Plants which grow in water are called hydrophytes, while animals that live in the aquatic environment are called hydrocoels. Plants which grow in area where water is available in moderate quantity are classified as mesophytes, and terrestrial animals living under such conditions are called mesocoels. Some plants can grow in ecosystems where water is scarce and where the day temperature is very high. These plants are called xerophytes, and the animals living in such xeric conditions are called xerocoels. Xerophyte living in physiologically dry soils, that is saline soils with high concentration of salts such as NaCl, MgCl2 and MgSO4 are called halophytes. Based on their specific habitat, halophytes can be further classified into lithophilous, pseumophilous, pelophilous and halophilous plants growing on rock and stones, sand, mud and swamp respectively. Halophilous halophytes include mangroves of seashores such as Rhizophora mucronata and Soneraceae. Halophytes have high osmotic pressure, succulent organs, thin evergreen small leathery leaves with water storing tissues and thick cuticles and special air breathing roots called pneumatophores. Now, we will discuss aquatic adaptations in detail. Let's see adaptive features of hydrophytes. Hydrophytes include free floating hydrophytes, for example Wulfflia, Lemna, Spirodela, Azolla, Acornia, Salvinia and Pistia. Rooted hydrophytes with floating leaves, for example Trapa, Nelumbo, Nymphaea, Marsilia, etc. Submerged floating hydrophytes, for example Ceratophyllum, Utricularia, Nasas, etc. Rooted submerged hydrophytes, for example Hydrilla, Chara, Vallisneria, etc. Rooted emergent hydrophytes or amphibian plants, for example Sagittaria, Ranunculus, etc. Ctenegophytes are amphibious plants which can grow in water bodies as well as in waterlogged soil. These hydrophytes grow in hydric conditions and show the following general adaptive features. They possess poor mechanical, absorbing, conductive and protective tissues. They also contain an extensive development of air spaces in the tissues. Roots are either absent, for example Wulffia, or poorly developed, for example Hydrilla. Roots may not have root hairs, root cap and vascular tissue. Roots of the hydrophytes are generally fibrous and adventitious when present. The stem of hydrophytes is weak, slender and spongy. In some, it is like a horizontal rhizome covered with mucilage, while it may be hard as in Nelumbo. The aerial leaves may be broad, but the submerged leaves are thin, long or ribbon shaped. Stomata are completely absent in submerged leaves, for example Anacharis, but in floating forms, stomata are confined only to the upper surface of the leaves as in Nymphea. Let's have a glimpse of hydrocoels and their adaptations for aquatic medium. Aquatic animals or hydrocoels in general exhibit an elongated stem-lined body having a compressed head, body and tail. Hydrocoels include fishes, sea turtles, mammals such as whales and many others. There are also amphibious forms such as frog, toad, crocodile, etc. Now, we will learn desert adaptations of xerophytes and xerocoles in relation to external factors of water and higher temperature. Xerophytes grow in conditions of water scarcity, high temperature, strong winds, high transpiration rate and evaporation higher than precipitation. The soil is very dry and porous. The essential adaptation of xerophytes involved increased water absorption by roots, storage of water and retardation of transpiration. Thus, in search of water, xerophytic trees may go very deep in the soil and have extensive root hairs to absorb it. The roots of plants such as Calotropis procera, Ficus and Acacia nilotica may go as deep as 10 to 16 meters and may reach the water table. As a consequence, these plants survive in deserts or arid conditions even if their rate of transpiration is higher. The storage of water is facilitated either by modifications of leaves as in Mesembryanthemum, aloe, begonia, bryophyllum, agave, yucca, etc. or modifications of stems as in cacti such as opuntia and euphorbia. In some xerophytes, the water is stored in roots as in asparagus. All the xerophytes are called succulents because they possess thick, fleshy water storage organs such as stems, leaves and roots. Non-succulent xerophytes such as Calotropis, Prosopis, Acacia, Ziziphus, Casuarina, Saccharum and Pinus possess other sorts of xerophytic adaptations, that is extensive root system, high osmotic pressure and other modifications in leaves. Reduced transpiration is achieved by decreasing the leaf surface as in Casuarina, Acacia and asparagus, or by modifying the leaves into spines as in cacti, or by having thick leathery thick cuticle or wax coating bearing leaves with well developed hypoderma and sunken stomata to reduce transpiration as in Calotropis and Nerim. Now, let us describe adaptations of desert animals. Xerocoles have adaptive features for three major sorts to live in the arid environment: for moisture getting, for moisture conservation and for self-defense against the physical environment. Let us first understand adaptations of desert organisms for obtaining moisture. Securing of adequate quantity of moisture is the prime need of desert forms and its scarcity is the characteristic of the desert. For getting the deep water, rainwater from the superficial layers of sand, absorption of dew water, the xerophytic plants and xerocoles have varied adaptations. The date palm has long, deep exploring and horizontally spreading roots. The sand lizard or Moloch horridus has hygroscopic skin to absorb water like blotting paper. Its surface is covered with thorn-like scales. Desert animals have developed the habit of occasional drinking of water, and in some cases few animals absorb dewdrops along with vegetation food. Desert rabbit, tortoise and wood rat eat succulent plant for their water need. Kangaroo rat, pocket mouse and certain other rodents eat dry seeds and vegetation and quench their thirst. For animals living in desert, the main source of water is juice of plants or maybe blood of prey. Carnivore animals feed on their prey for food and water. The second major feature of adaptation in desert animals is for moisture conservation. Let us discuss the different type of adaptations for water conservation in zerocoals one by one. The first is impervious skin. The drier habitats like deserts are invaded by only those animals which contain a thick impermeable body covering to avoid water loss by perspiration. Such waxy integuments occur in many insects, birds and mammals. Some mammals such as men, apes and horses lose much water and salt through sweat glands in heat regulation. Most rodents and some ruminants such as antelope nearly or completely lack sweat glands. Moist skin forms like amphibians and earthworms, certain mites and soft-bodied insects are restricted to swamps, stream margins, moist soils and other similarly damp places. To avoid water loss through skin, the horned toad has hard and rough skin and moloch has scales and spines all over the body surface. The next is formation of burrows. To conserve water, desert animals remain in burrows during the daytime and come outside during night when the percentage of moisture in their burrow and outside is equal. Certain animals plug the mouth of their burrows during daytime to keep it moist. The next is water from food and metabolism. Most herbivores and carnivores live on the moisture obtained from food. Many insects utilize the high water contents of the plant to meet their water requirements. In fact, most animals make use of water released during metabolism when fats and carbohydrates are broken. Kangaroo rat, which seals its burrow by day to keep its chamber moist, can live throughout year without drinking water. It obtains its water from its own metabolic processes and from hygroscopic water in its food. Desert lizard store water in large intestine. Internal lungs or tracheal system. Mode of respiration has some correlation with water. Crustaceans with their gills covered by the water retaining carapace carry with them a liquid environment for their gills. Internal lungs, whether in pulmonate snails, land isopods, spiders or higher vertebrates together with the internal tracheal system of insects are water saving. The next is dry excretion. A further water saving device is the excretion of concentrated, relatively dry, nitrogenous and facial waste materials. Water saving insects, reptiles and birds excrete nitrogenous waste as a solid uric acid. Camel and African antelope, oryx provide good examples of zerocoals or drought resisting animals. Camels can go without food and water as long as 10 days as a stretch. Camel exhibit many adaptations for water conservations, like when camel drinks water, it can take in up to 50 liters in one gulp, and this water is eventually distributed all over its body in tissues and not in specific pockets or organs as the common misconception holds. Camel excretes highly concentrated urine. Its dung also contains very little water compared to other organisms. It respires very little and its breathing rhythm is very slow. Camel can withstand dehydration up to 25% of body weight, and it loses water from body tissues rather than from blood. Body temperature of camel is labile, dropping to 33.8 degrees Celsius overnight and raising to 40.6 degrees Celsius by day, at which point it begins to sweat. Due to such thermoregulation, the amount of water loss by perspiration and in other ways is greatly reduced. Camel accumulates its fat in the hump rather than all over the body. This speeds heat flow away from the body, and its thick coat prevents the flow of heat inward towards the body. An estimate quantity of 8 gallons of water may be produced from the breaking down of fat stored in the hump alone. The third adaptive feature of desert animals is for self-defense against physical environment. The desert animals protect themselves from the extreme heat of the sand and arid climate by showing different adaptations. Let us see how xerocoles protect themselves from desert sand. Protection against the harmful effect of sand on the vulnerable part of the body is of primary importance. So, the nostrils, eyes and ears are extremely modified to fight the sand storm. Let's study these features in brief. Upturned nostrils. In burrow digging species of reptile, the nostrils are directed upward instead of forward. This may provide a protection from clogging by wind blown sand. In most snakes, nostrils are either reduced to pinholes or protected by complicated valves. Eyes. For security and searching suitable places for shelter, acute vision is necessary. In camels, the eyes are large and guarded by plenty of long eyelashes. In a burrowing desert snake, the eyes are small and overhanged by head shields. In ostrich and camel, the eyes are protected by reflecting heat of the sand by possessing the long neck. The placement of the head on very long neck brings the vital sense organs as far as possible above the sand level. Ears. The ear opening of desert animals is either small or protected by fringals or scales. In camels, the opening of the ears are protected by hairs. Let us see how xerocoles protect themselves from their enemies. Desert animals have adapted various devices to protect themselves against the predators. Deceptive coloration. Desert animals are usually grey, brown or red matching with the color of the sand or rock. Antelope resembles the general coloring of landscape, which provides a good example of self-defense. Venom. Possession of venom is an attribute of desert adaptation for self-defense. Many desert animals are venomous. Almost all desert snakes are poisonous. All the spiders and red desert ants found in desert are deadly venomous. Poisonous scorpions too are common in deserts. Odor. Repulsive odor is also an adaptive feature in many desert forms. Body surface modification. The dry, hard and spinous surface is the characteristic of many desert animals. The spinous scales of the body of Moloch horridus and the large spines on the body of horned toad Phyrenosoma are the two typical examples. Let us see how xerocoles protect themselves from extreme temperature. Nocturnal lifestyle. Most desert animals are nocturnal and seek shadow of great rock or burrow deep in the soil in the daytime to avoid excessive heat and dryness. Some xerocole rodents passively lose heat through conduction by pressing their bodies against burrow walls. The desert insects can withstand considerably high temperature. They can sit or move comfortably on hot stones which are unbearable for other animals. Suspended animation. Certain animals, usually with simpler organization, such as rotifers, nematodes, desert snails, etc. retain their vitality in long dry environment. Other forms like frogs, toads, etc. aestivate during droughts and are active during moist season of the year. Migration. Many birds and mammals of arid zones migrate when water becomes scarce or as a result of drought or for other reasons the food supply is less. Heat loss by radiation. Animals such as jackrabbits and fox have large ears that reduce the need of water evaporation to regulate the body temperature. The ears function as efficient radiators to the cooler desert sky, which on clear days may have a radiation temperature below 25 degrees Celsius, below than that of the animal body. By seeking shade and sitting in depressions, jackrabbit could radiate 5 kilocalories per day through its two large ears, that is 400 centimeter square. At last, let us see Zircole's modifications for fast movement in desert. Desert animals usually move with high speed because they have to travel far off in search of food, water and safety. The sand adapted feet of camel serve as very efficient locomotors organ. Thermal adaptations. Now, let us discuss different thermal adaptations of organisms. Most animals and plants of different ecological habitats have developed various sorts of the thermal adaptation during the course of evolution to overcome the harmful effect of extremes of temperature. Some of the significant thermal adaptations of organisms include formation of heat resistant spores, cysts, seeds, etc. Some of the animals and plants produce heat resistant cysts, eggs, pupa, spores and seeds which can tolerate extremes of temperature. Amoeba in encystate conditions can tolerate temperature below 0 degrees Celsius. Similarly, rye seeds remain active even at 0 degrees Celsius and can germinate at that temperature. As an adaptation against frost, the starch of plants changes to fats or oils in the autumn. The fatty oils diminish the freezing points and thus increase the power of resistance in plants against frost. Many leaves which grow in the coldest lands store fats. Pantocenes, mucilage and pactic substances which have high moisture retaining power are abundant in many plants. They decrease the danger of plants from desiccation during extremes of heat and save them from death. Removal of water from tissue. Dried seeds, spores and cysts avoid freezing because there remains no liquid in them that can freeze due to removal of water from seeds of certain plant increases up to extent that their exposure for 3 weeks to 190 degrees Celsius does not diminish their germinating capacity. Dormancy. Dormancy includes two phenomena, namely hibernation and estivation. During both kinds of dormancies, metabolic rate becomes reduced, body temperature becomes low and heartbeat rate is also reduced. Thermal migration. Thermal migrations occur only in animals. The journeys taken by animals that enable them to escape from extremely hot or cold situations are referred to as thermal migrations. For example, desert animals move to shaded places to avoid burning heat of noon, and some animals such as desert reptiles and snakes become nocturnal to avoid heat of the day. The frogs, toads, other amphibians, turtles, etc. make short trips into or out of water and this provides desired cooling and warming to the animal. Thus, we can say that adaptations help organisms in a variety of ways to survive in the extreme external environmental conditions.
Let us quickly summarize different aspects of adaptations in organisms that we have discussed today. In this part of lecture, we have learnt principles of adaptation in living organisms in relation to the external environmental conditions. We have mainly studied the aquatic adaptations of hydrophytes and hydrocoals for living in watery medium. We have also discussed desert adaptations of xerophytes and xerocoals for surviving in the arid conditions of the environment along with the higher temperature. At last, we have also got the brief information regarding thermal adaptations of the plants and animals living in extreme temperature zones. In the next part of adaptations in organisms, we will learn about adaptations for other external factors of the environment like soil, light, air and fire.